Welcome to episode number 37 of the Mastering Marriage podcast, where our goal is to strengthen, unite, and restore your marriage. Hey everybody, my name is Amanda Taylor, and together with my husband David, we are the co-founders of MendOurMarriage.com, and our goal is to break the back of divorce by bringing married couples together to be accountable, keep the passion alive, and expose the hidden issues that try to rip marriages apart. And we are back in the booth today with another episode. We missed you. But guess what? Right now, I'm going to introduce my co-host, my best friend and my husband, David Taylor.
Yo. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Mastering Marriage podcast.
Yo.
It's been over a month since our last episode.
Yes.
A lot has changed, so we're going to bring you guys up to speed.
Yes.
And then we're going to jump into some juicy content.
Let's go.
So first, I would like to say that this episode number 37, is brought to you on behalf of Motivated to Love. And guys, we are overwhelmed with the support, the appreciation, and just the love, the need that this book has been meeting. I mean, we have literally sold thousands and thousands and thousands of Mandy's book. I mean, literally. And we get hundreds of emails weekly, if not daily, asking questions and just, asking for advice and prayers. Mandy's group is almost 800 people strong. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That, just 5 months ago, this book didn't exist. And we owe it all to you guys. So we really appreciate your love and support. But again, Motivated to Love, if you want to check out that book, go to www.motivated2love.com. And so, but enough of that. I do want to kind of bring you guys up to speed on what's been going on. Mm-hmm. We had some ups and some downs in our lives.
Yeah.
And so we just want to share that with you guys because y'all are our family. So first, I guess one of the good things is that we've moved to a new location, like in our house. We moved to a new residency. And so we've been busy, getting everything packed, moved, and unpacked. And we like where we are.
Right.
And we're going to be shooting some videos here and kind of giving you guys the inside scoop of our digs. So be on the lookout for that because we're adding to that. So, but here's the thing that happened to us that was good and then it ended up being bad and then it's good again. You want me to share this with everybody?
Sure, go
want me to
right
just drop
ahead.
it? All right. So on Easter Sunday, right, in April, beginning of April, Mandy and I found out that we were pregnant. Really, she was pregnant and, I contributed to that. Finally, after 3 years, right? We've been trying for 3 years, about 3 years, and I finally got it right. And, hit the jackpot. And she was pregnant. We were overwhelmed with joy. We were on cloud nine. I was about to be a daddy. Mandy was about to be a mommy. And then 2 weeks later, Mandy miscarried. And it was like we went from the pinnacle of happiness to the slums. And I still remember the look on my wife's face when she, when it happened, and we don't have to get into the details, but it was pretty traumatic, and it was trying for us because we really were interested and ready to be parents, and all of a sudden it didn't happen.
Right.
And so but we've recovered, and we're back at it, back at it trying to get it again. And, but yeah, that's been one of the biggest things that has kind of, kept us quiet for a while as we've been kind of recouping from that. So, thank you for your prayers. And yeah, we're back. We're going to be parents. We're going to get this right one of these days. Okay. We just are.
We will.
We're going to make this happen. And so in the meantime, happy Mother's Day to everybody who's out there mothering.
Happy Mother's Day.
Whether you're a dad mothering, like you're a single dad, or whether you're a mom mothering, happy Mother's Day. We appreciate all of your work, your hard work.
Love you, moms.
Love you, moms. And so that's been what's been going on. And so, but anyway, we're gonna move forward even more. Last thing, and then I'm gonna hand it off to Mandy because today we're gonna talk about loving the walls down, part deuce. Deuces.
Part
Part two. Because we did a part one. It was one of our most popular episodes. People were requesting a part two. And so we're going to hit you back with this part two. But before I do want to share with you guys that we also have a very new website coming out in the next week.
Yes.
And I'm not going to tell you the name right now because I'm not going to tell you the name, but it has something to do with couples fitness.
Yes.
And it's its own site. It's its own membership site. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be for couples fitness, and we're going to be adding some really, really new and innovative things to this site, to the membership portion.
You're going to really enjoy it.
You're going to really enjoy this. So be on the lookout. In a week, I'll be giving you guys more information. But anyway, today's episode is all about Loving the Walls Down Part 2.
Yes.
And part one, well, Mandy, why don't you go ahead and give a recoup of what part one is? Let me do this so that you can go ahead and just be prepared to drop some nuggets. Okay? Some juicy nuggets. You got some juicy nuggets to drop?
I got some juice.
Some juice? Okay, that was kind of, anyway. So, so the first episode of Loving the Walls Down Part 1 was a response to a question that we got. Mm-hmm. And it was really about, a husband was struggling with how to love through a cold wife. His spouse was struggling to reciprocate the love that he was given. She wanted out of a relationship. She was reluctant. And he was the motivated spouse. And so we gave him some tips. Mandy really gave him some tips on how to approach his wife to help love the walls down. So today is going to be all about like a lot more tangible, action-oriented things. So yes. Mandy, are you ready?
I am ready to go.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Because we're about to go in, and we're going to go in for a couple minutes, and then we're going to be done. So anyway, without further ado, Mandy, why don't you go ahead and take the reins?
All right, so here we go. Loving the Walls Down Part 2.
Part 2, y'all.
All right, so we have 2 points that we are going to discuss today. But again, like I said before, make sure you have pen and pad because it's going to be meaty. So the 2 points that we're going to be dealing with today are studying love. Okay, so again, how do you love the walls down? So you have to be a student of love, so study love. And also, you have to take up the practice of repetitive meditation, okay? So we're not talking about to Buddha or anything like that.
Can't pray to Buddha? We're not doing Buddha today? No? Okay.
We're not doing Buddha today. But we'll get to that, and I will expound on what I mean by that, okay? So, again, we're going to start with studying love. Now, in the first episode, we talked about before you could become, before
she hyped, y'all. I'm telling you, it's been a minute. She hyped.
Before you could become love to your spouse, as we said before, you must love yourself. Okay, so that was one of the points that we talked about before. So, in order to move forward, we must truly learn about God's type of love, agape love. Okay, and understand how to love our spouses through dark seasons.
And so, and I'm gonna jump in and out every now and again. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so let's really be very practical. So we talked about agape love. You just brought that concept up again. We did do an episode that kind of broke down the types of love. Mm-hmm. And agape was what's the difference? What separates agape from those other 3 types of love?
Well, agape love is unconditional love. It's a type of love that Jesus showed when he died on the cross. Okay. So no matter how others were treating him, his love was not conditional. His love was not based on
what he was getting back.
Or what people quote unquote deserved or what they were giving him.
So within the confines of a marriage, what does agape love look like?
So within the confines of a marriage, agape love, it means to give. For example, for us, when we were going through our toughest season, I was able to display agape love or unconditional love to David, even when he couldn't give me anything in return. Mm-hmm. And so, for instance, I decided to go on this Motivated to Love walk. And all he could give me was really just him being in the house. That's all he could offer me. Yeah. And so my love couldn't be dependent on what he was giving me because he really wasn't able to give me anything.
Yeah. And so what we found is a lot, and we get this a lot, spouses, primarily wives, will say they have ran out. They can't do it anymore. Their spouse is too cold. Sometimes we get messages with expletives in it, they're just done. Mm-hmm. And agape love means that no matter what you're getting or not getting, you still are obligated to love.
Right.
Unconditionally. Mm-hmm. And you are loving because you want to love, not because of what you want to get back.
Right.
And that's a big difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, and I'm just going to say this and we're going to move forward because I don't want to get too far off. We watch these movies, we read these books, we kind of get this fantasy type of quote unquote love perception, to where if we're not getting this type of, romantic love, then we want to move on. But in reality, we have to make our own love story with our spouse. And so our love may not look like it looks like on The Notebook or on Love and Basketball.
Because that's eros. That's that erotic love.
That's erotic love.
That's sexual love. Let me get in your drug.
Uh-oh.
No, I just, go ahead. Keep going.
So I'm going to go ahead and keep moving forward. So you might ask, how do you study love? Or what do you mean by studying love? That's kind of vague. So for me personally, where I had to start was in 1 Corinthians 13 and the passages 4 through 8. So those scriptures I studied, and I had to flood my spirit and my mind with those scriptures night and day for a really long time. So literally, I had to go in and I had to read the scriptures. Love is patient, love is kind, is long suffering. It does not give account to a suffered wrong. And you know what? Literally little by little, as I studied those scriptures, it washed away all that bitterness and depression and even rage and anger that I felt. And there were times where I did feel hopeless, but the more I read those scriptures and the more I just overflowed my spirit with those things, the scriptures had more authority over my thoughts than what was going on in the atmosphere around me.
And that's key. Oh my gosh, that's so key. You have to, she said a word, overflow. You have to deluge your mind with something more powerful than those negative voices that you're hearing.
Yes.
And her choice, her tool or preference was the Bible, scripture.
Yes.
Specific, not just the Bible itself, but specific scriptures that focused on love, the characteristics of the type of love that she wanted to exemplify.
Right.
And she overflowed her mind with those scriptures.
Exactly.
And that helped combat all those negative voices and feelings.
Right.
Most people would do it once or twice and expect it to work and then give up when it doesn't.
Right. Or, when you go to church on Sunday or on Wednesday for Bible study, you listen, you brood over it for maybe a night, you're excited and you're going, you're ready to move forward with that concept. But then after day 2 or 3,
when he ain't budging.
Yes. After day
quit.
2 or 3, then you just decide, I want to give up.
You and your feelings.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so basically I really had to take all of those attributes of love and I had to dissect them. I had to literally take out patience and kindness and long suffering and all those words. And I had to even go to the dictionary and look up the individual meanings of those words. Mm-hmm. And in my book, Motivated to Love, I go through and actually, list the different definitions of those words. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, that's good.
But, a lot of those words were really hard to digest. Because part of me felt like, I was stupid for even trying to do this because David was so convincing that there was nothing I could do to make us work. It was just impossible. So again, to combat those moments, again, I had to stay in the Word. I had to keep studying love. I had to keep, believing that this was worth it.
Let me ask you a question. And I know you got points to go through, but I like this conversation. Because we also get that a lot. People feeling stupid for standing for a spouse who doesn't want to have anything to do with them. Are they crazy? Are they stupid? I mean, what do you say to somebody who says that?
Well, you know what? When I did feel like that, I felt like, and in the moments where I did feel stupid or whatever, I had to think of it like this, that God uses the things that the world considers weak to confound the wise. And so, not to get really deep, but you have to understand that this type of love that we're talking about is on a spiritual level. And so, whereas the world tells us that this is stupid and if your man or your woman is not doing you right, you go out and get somebody else, that's not God's way. So to speak to the man or the woman that's saying, this is stupid, why would I stand? it's because you're in covenant. You agreed to for better or for worse. So you have to put those things in perspective. And sometimes you have to put your own needs and desires aside for, as I've said before, for a season. So your marriage can be healed for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
You have to allow God's light to shine through you, into the darkness that your spouse is experiencing.
Yeah.
Because, if you won't, who will?
Well, and unconditional love means that you're not loving to get anything in return.
Exactly.
You're loving without conditions.
Right.
And so if you find yourself constantly struggling with wanting to get something in return after you've given love, if you find yourself constantly feeling like, well, I've given and I'm not getting anything back, then you have to question whether or not you're truly giving unconditional love. Because you may find, more than likely, that you're not giving unconditional love. Because unconditional love doesn't have a handout waiting to receive something back.
Right.
It has a handout waiting to give more. There's a difference.
Right.
So just wanted to add that.
No, that's good. And just going on, not to necessarily the next point, but I think some people think, I'm stupid for doing this because they don't have a true understanding of a healthy type of love stance. They think that, okay, if I'm loving unconditionally and I'm praying, they kind of have this image of somebody just in their prayer closet, hunkered down and just praying, and their spouse is like this monster just walking all over them. And that's not it.
No.
Just because, you are showing somebody true love, does not mean that takes away accountability and responsibility.
That's good.
So there's a way to still hold your spouse accountable
and have boundaries,
and have boundaries and use wisdom, but still also show love and respect.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
So yeah.
You done?
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
No, I was in there. You just paused, so I just thought maybe you dropped the mic and left.
Hey, I had to walk away. I just had to let them digest that for just a minute.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Well, I do want to add also, with
I'm sorry.
With agape love, we just have to understand that, that is truly about seeing past the actions and words in front of us and seeing into the heart, of our spouse and the pain of our spouse. Unconditional love, agape love, it says, I know this is not who you were created to be when you look at that person. When you look at your spouse who's going through, who's being mean and cold, unconditional love says, I know this is not you. I know this is not who you were created to be. So I choose to love you past your pain.
Oh, this is good. So what you're really saying is, I see something deeper or different than what you are demonstrating.
Exactly.
And I choose to love the potential that I see in you instead of the person that you're presenting today. Because the person you're presenting today could offend me if I allow you. And so because I'm not allowing you to offend me, because I'm looking deeper, I am going to love that person. And I'm going to love that person out of you.
Exactly.
I'm going to love the hell out of you. I didn't cuss. I did not cuss, okay? So don't be, no. I said, no, I'm saying.
I know, baby. I know what you meant.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. This is your show. This ain't my show.
No, you good. You good.
Because I cursed. You gonna tell my mama?
Yeah. I'm just gonna send her the podcast so she can hear you cussing.
She's gonna be cussing. We gotta pray for. Okay, that's another topic. Go ahead, baby.
All right. So again, I'm just saying that, unconditional love is about planting seeds of love and acceptance. And it's about breaking away that hardness of heart until, healing comes to that person. So we have to, again, meditate on love, study love and what it means so that we can be confident and strong enough to be able to love someone past where they are right now.
And you're saying that the best way to meditate and study love is to go to the source. Exactly. Or I guess the most accurate depiction of agape love, which would be what? The Bible.
Yes.
That's the secret.
Yes.
Okay, because you paused like you didn't know, even though you had it in your notes. I'm just... It's not a trick question, baby.
Oh, I know. I thought you was going to go ahead and answer your question.
Oh, okay. Well, no, this is your show.
Okay. All right. So, so study and love, that's the very first point. Again, make sure that you do that you master that you set aside the time that you need to be able to do that. And you do it continuously. So that's going to lead right into repetitive meditation.
Well, and before you do that, because think about it, in any other area of life, in any other major endeavor that you're going to embark on, be it a new job, right?
And you're jumping in, yeah.
Oh, I'm jumping ahead?
No, that's good.
Okay, well, so you want me to finish saying it, or do you want to say it?
Again, this is repetitive meditation. You're doing the intro now.
Well, but this is good because for some reason people, and I say this all the time, people feel like getting a marriage license is just something to do. They take it lightly. And I think
because they get that ring, get excited, get that dress.
I think culture makes it such a light thing, right? You get a driver's license, you have to be tested, right? I had a license to practice psychology. I had to be tested, right? To practice law, to practice medicine, you have to be tested. Right. But for some reason, to get a license for marriage, you don't have to do nothing but present yourself,
sign the paper,
and pay a little fee.
That's it,
and it's a wrap. Mm-hmm. So I have a serious problem with that. And so when Mandy talks about studying love, it's really about making sure that you test yourself, that you develop and grow and expand your knowledge base. And it does lead into the second part. So go ahead and talk about that.
All right. So basically just kind of piggybacking off what David was saying and the examples he was giving. You know, if you were, in nursing school or in law school, and let's say you were studying for your finals, and these were your last tests before you are able to go forward in your career. Mm-hmm. Or let's say, you are trying to prepare for a presentation or something that's going to be life-changing for you. You would have to prepare for those things, right?
Yeah.
And no matter what, you would make sure that you got prepared and you would make time to get prepared. You wouldn't make the excuses of, oh, I got to get sleep, or, oh, I have kids, or, oh, this or that.
You'd be intentional.
You would be very intentional, very intentional about making time. Because again, these are things that are going to be life changing and to change your life for the better. Mm-hmm. So how much more so are we to do this for a spouse that's hurting?
Yeah.
So we have to think about that. So if we know that we want to stand and be motivated to love and to love the walls down, we really have to make sure that we're in a position where we are, again, studying love, filling ourselves up to where we're getting rid of offense and getting rid of any type of triggers that we have so that we can stand in confidence and in love.
Mm-hmm. That's really good. That's because if you can only give away what you have.
Exactly.
And if you don't have it because you didn't take the time to fill yourself with it, then what the heck do you think you're going to give away? It sure ain't going to be love. It's going to be some type of mutated concept of love, but it's not going to be agape love.
Right.
Agape love only comes on purpose.
Right.
And you have to be intentional about filling your tank so that you can give what you have. And if you're overflowing, you won't run out.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly. And you also have to understand that you have to be consistent in this area. So when you are practicing repetitive meditation,
what do you mean by repetitive meditation?
So again, and I was going to give those examples, but no, that's okay. So repetitive meditation, that includes speaking the opposite of what you're going through. And that also means building your arsenal and preparing for any attacks on your heart or on your mind. So I'm going to go into more examples of those. So, for instance, let's start with the speaking the opposite. So, I have had many people who have sent messages to me or posted in the group about how they feel. And I will then follow it up with giving them an encouraging word or a scripture to combat that thing that's attacking their mind. So, for example, I have some people to come to me and say, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I'm all burnt out and I just don't have anything left to give. And so what I tell them is, well, what you need to start speaking over and over and over again is, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. I remember there were many days that I repeated that hundreds of times, because it was a very simple phrase, a very simple scripture, but it had a lot of power. And it served as, a weapon against a lot of the attacks on my mind. So another example was, I feel stupid. Why should I continue to stand? Everyone else says I should go. And again, going back to the scripture I mentioned earlier, God uses the weak things of the world to confound the wise.
That's good.
I had others who say, I am lonely. I don't have anyone who understands me. And to that I said, God said he will never leave you or forsake you, even until the end. Okay? And last example, I am broken and tired. I have totally lost myself. And to that I said, God comes to make all things new. So again, you know, everybody personally has different things that are attacking their mind. So you have to figure out what are those things that are constantly attacking me and bringing me down and weighing me down. You have to figure out what scriptures and what resources can you use to block those things out, to knock those things out when they come to attack you.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. It's kind of like mosquito repellent, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you're like in Florida, we get a lot of mosquitoes around this time of the year. And if you don't have repellent on, those mosquitoes are going to suck you dry. You know, they're going to keep biting you. And that's how those negative words are. Mm-hmm. You know, they're irritants, but they continue until at some point you run out of the very necessity of life, which is your blood. So right. You got to really make sure that you're using that scripture, those scriptures, to ward off those thoughts. You really got to do that. And you got to be intentional. You can't just do it once or twice and expect them to work.
Exactly.
Right? Research shows that it takes at least 13 to 17 positive words to offset the power of one negative word. So if you have one faulty belief and you've repeated it once in a day, then you got to at least brood or ruminate or repeat that positive scripture at least 13 to 17 times.
That's something.
Now imagine if you've said it once or twice within the course of a conversation, or you've told multiple people that in one day, right? Now, or you wrote it. That meant you had to read it again after you wrote it. And so imagine if you've repeated that negative word or that negative statement to yourself twice or 3 times in a day, then you have to go into overtime and overdrive to add more, repeat those positive sayings more than just once. It's not a balance. It's not a fair balance. You got to go 13 to 17 times more.
That's why it's really important for you to be on guard, and that as soon as those things attack you, you immediately say, okay, hey, I can't let that in. I don't want that to be ruminating on my mind, and I don't want to keep thinking on that. Yeah. So immediately you need to find something.
Because your body will go where your mind goes. Have you ever been driving and you look to the left, you start to veer to the left? That's the same way your body and your mind works. If you start thinking a negative thought, your body will align with that. And pretty much in the day, your day will align with what you're thinking. Right? As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. That's scripture. That's in Proverbs. So you really have to change. And this is so pivotal. I like this point, man. This meditation, it's brooding, right? It's ruminating. That's what cows do. They chew over their food, and then they chew over it again, and they chew over it again. That's what you got to do. Right. While you going to work. While you at your desk. While you taking a shower.
You jumping.
I'm jumping?
You jumping.
Well, go on jump there, baby.
All right, so let's jump to point number 2.
I'm sorry. I just got hyped.
All right, so, no, that's good. That's good. That was some meat right there.
That's some meat.
Yeah.
Turn it down.
So, in addition to speaking the opposite, you must build your arsenal and prepare for, again, those mental attacks, okay? Yeah. So, for an example, a lot of times at night, that is the time when stuff really hits your mind and your heart, because you're laying down, it's quiet, you're in the dark, you're trying to go to sleep, and then that's when it hits. And so that was the main thing for me. So I found that usually when these thoughts would come in, they were a result of what...
Did you say thoughts? T-H-O-T?
No, thoughts.
Oh, okay. T-H-O-U-G-H-T-S?
Yes.
I thought you said you had thoughts coming to your house. Kind of stuff are you giving these folks? David, you can't give them thoughts.
David, it's time for you to go to bed. Anyway, so like I said, I found that these thoughts were usually the result of what I was meditating on or thinking about during the day, what I was listening to, or what I was talking about. Okay, so when I saw that pattern, I started to do the following things. So remember I talked about studying the passages in 1 Corinthians 13? So what I did was I recorded myself citing those scriptures. Okay. On my phone, and I listened to that over and over again, no matter where I was. So whether I was driving or commuting to work, going to sleep, at work, I had it on my phone. So I could plug in my headphones and I could listen to it over and over again.
Wow, that's good.
Okay. So another thing I did was I taped scriptures on my bathroom mirror, on the fridge. I put them on my laptop home screen. I put them anywhere that I was looking on a regular basis.
Mm.
Okay. So again, I always had something positive going into my spirit.
So you kind of like conditioned yourself wherever you were to have something positive coming in.
Exactly.
And that's how you got to the overflow level.
Exactly.
I like that.
And I just want to say this before I give the other two examples. It was crazy because my flesh or my mind, it was like sometimes I would feel irritated when I would see it because something negative would try to pop in my head and try to stay there. And it's like almost like you want to hold on to it for comfort, but I would see the positive and it wouldn't stay. You know, it couldn't linger.
That was one of the reasons why it was most effective. Is 'cause-
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm in your dome.
Thank you.
I know
I
what you-
appreciate
yeah.
that.
Uh-huh.
So another thing I did was I revamped my Facebook timeline to only see positive affirmations from pages that I liked.
That's good.
So you can choose an alternate timeline that you click on when you get on Facebook, and you can customize that.
And y'all didn't even know that, did y'all?
So-
That's pretty decent.
Yeah, so you just have to click on it when you get on there, and that's what I would look at.
Now, this is one of the bonus sections in your book, right? You actually show them how to
Exactly.
create. Okay, that's
All of
really
this
good.
is in my book.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I went to sleep listening to songs of encouragement or praise and worship. And then either that or messages about God's love and his, love working through us. So all of those things were things I had in my arsenal to keep me overflowing. And I listened to these things and did these things consistently every day. And sometimes, I was struggling minute by minute, like at the very beginning. So literally, there were times where maybe I was so out of it to where I couldn't go to work, in the very beginning because I was so drained. But I spent that time filling myself up.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, I got stronger and stronger. And these things were so heavily on my mind to where nothing negative could really sit there and torment me.
Wow. And that's huge. And that's why I was thoroughly impressed with your strength. Even
Thank you.
during that season, but also recently during the miscarriage. Because I noticed that you had your moment up front, right? Where you just kind of lost it for a second. But then afterwards, I was kind of shocked that you weren't as emotionally unstable as I thought you should have been, And even the nurse or the nurse practitioner was kind of like, she's probably going to have to be this way. And you didn't actually, but you're not hiding the pain. You just you have a way of dealing with it, processing it, and then giving it away to God.
Exactly. And that's what I try to tell people. This whole process of being motivated to love is bigger than you and your spouse in this situation. Like for me, it was a total life change for me. Because I really learned how to depend on God, and he truly became my foundation like never before.
That's deep.
And so, in any area of my life where there's difficulty or negativity, I learned how to, meditate on his word and on songs to where I could praise or worship or, scriptures that would just automatically come to my mind about God and his grace and his love and just who he is in my life. And so those things stay with you. And that strength that you get from this process stays with you throughout your life.
So if I can wrap this up, loving the walls down is all about a mindset shift.
Exactly.
It's all about changing your mindset to be anchored by something deeper, something richer, something stronger, something supernatural.
Right.
Something that is stronger than what you're capable of doing on your own.
Exactly.
And you were able to plug in and be connected such that you overflowed. And throughout the course of the overflowing, that tsunami of love, if I could be allegorical, kind of flowed to and through me. And what was left was my vulnerable heart that allowed God to heal.
Exactly.
And so spouses, don't quit. Stay in the fight. This stuff works. I am a living, breathing example of how you can love the walls down.
Exactly.
Mandy did it for us and it worked. And trust me, I am a very strong-minded guy, so when I have my mind set up, it's very hard to change it. And Mandy managed to love the walls down. She didn't twist my arm. Okay? She remained consistent. She loved, and as a result, God was able to change my heart.
Right, and
so
it's consistency and confidence.
Yes. You got to be confident.
So those are the things. Again, it's not about getting ran over. It's not about being desperate. It's about you becoming confident, whole, and healthy as a person in God and who you are and in your purpose in life, being consistent and confident in those things, and then letting God do the rest, letting God shine through you through this process, as hard as it may be. No matter how dark it gets, you shine brighter than that darkness.
Yeah. And really, that's what love is all about. And so I know we're kind of getting close to the 35-minute mark, and there's so much more. And this is not a pitch to sell the book, because we've already sold thousands, but it is a pitch to sell the concept of loving the walls down.
Right.
And you do that by any means possible, in a healthy way, rather. And one of the resources, there are many out there, but one of the resources is Mandy's book, Motivated to Love. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't heard about it already, go to motivated2love.com. You can listen to the video, watch the video, and you can kind of see what the book is all about. Mm-hmm. But trust me, this tool works. We've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people testifying to the power of the information inside of this book.
Exactly.
And so I think this is a great place to end, because we got more. We got a lot more, and we're going to be consistent now that we are back in the booth. But we covet your prayers. We really appreciate your support. I can't wait to reveal this new website to you guys shortly. And we would like to get some feedback from you guys. Let us know what you think about Loving the Walls Down. I mean, do y'all want a part 3? You want to hear part 3? Let us know.
Oh,
right?
And part 1 is episode number 33. We probably should have said that at the beginning.
Yeah. Oops.
So, again, part 1 of Motivated to Love, Loving the Walls Down, is episode number 33, if you want to go ahead and listen to that.
Yeah. So get that one first. I know this is kind of backwards, but anyway, my bad. Anyway, so feel free to leave us, comment, or share this podcast. We need you to subscribe. That way you get any new episode automatically downloaded to your iPhone or Android device. You can go to Stitcher Radio or iTunes and just type in the Mastering Marriage Podcast, and our show will come up. We would also like to hear from you. Drop a review in there. We've been getting more reviews. We're going to be giving you guys some shout outs. And actually, we're going to start something new where we're going to just surprise people and read your review. And the person that we read their review on air, we're going to give you a free book, Mandy's free book.
That's right.
So it may be you. So write a review, because it may be you. I kind of rhymed that one.
Good job, baby.
But in any case, we're done, guys. We're back in the booth. We are excited about what the future has in store for us.
Appreciate you,
yes,
everybody.
we do appreciate you guys. But we're done, y'all. We're
All
out,
right.
y'all. Deuces.